Acts 5 1 to 16. So unlike Barnabas, Barnabas was one of the people who had like property but sold it and laid it at the apostle feet. However, Ananias and Sapphira, this couple, they too had land, but then they kept a portion of the proceed, but they wanted to appear like they sold it all and they gave it all, similar to Barnabas. So they tried to mimic him, but they lied in the process. And so Peter called that out and said that they are actually lying to people, to God. So they were lying, I guess, for the approval of people, but they're actually lying to God. And so they both died. And so the whole church, so great fear came over the whole church and over all who heard about these things. I think the fear and respect for God to not like mess around with him, to not lie, and to not like do things like that. And I wonder why that fear is, why God displays such great power only in the beginning of the church. Like now there are so many false prophets, there are liars like everywhere, and he let them kind of like go on deceiving the people, but he kind of forbid that when the church started, I think, to have kind of like a rule of like a precedence. I wonder why he doesn't keep it up. I think he does that so that we can choose for ourselves who we listen to, but it's interesting that God, it would be so much easier if we can see like that people who are kind of like deceiving like that, they are made known to others. So the apostle, many signs and wonders were taking place, and even Peter, like, he can heal by just passing through, it seems, because people carried the sick out to the street and laid them on cots and pallets, so that when Peter came by, at least his shadow might fall on them. And the Peter from the cities of Jerusalem were coming together as well, bringing people who were sick or tormented with unclean spirit, and they were all being healed. So Peter had great power in speech afterward, and also like signs and wonders to back it up. And when I read that, I also think about the old world, the world that Jesus came into, and the world that we have today is very different. I think back then there's a lot more like spiritual related infirmities. Like there's a lot of more demonic possessions, as we read throughout the whole Bible. And now we do have illnesses, and we do have mental illness and spiritually related ailments, but I think our world today is very much cleansed of that compared to that world that Jesus came in, and probably the world even before that. And so that's just something that I thought about, that I'm kind of very glad to be where I am in this day and age, and not back then when the spiritual ailments are so much more prevalent.